Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the work session meeting of the Mayor and Council for November. At this time, I would ask for everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we think about Harworth Police Chief Mike Gracie, who recently lost his father. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Gracie family, as well as the Dondy family in the Milford. Please salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag
of the
United States of America
and
and
to
to
the
the
republic
republic
for which
for
it
which
stands,
it stands, one nation,
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty and
justice.
justice for all.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Being that this meeting is being held virtual, I have to read the following. All participants are muted during the meeting. Anyone wishing to make comments or ask questions can do so at such time as the meeting is open to the public for comment and during public hearings on any ordinances by hitting the button to raise your hand or by typing a message in the chat box. You'll need to state your name and address for the record. Members of the public may also submit written comments for any future remote meetings by either email to cdemiris@newmilfordborough.com or a written letter to the Borough Clerk. Written comments must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the remote meeting in order to be read into the record during the meeting. Members of the public commenting during a remote meeting shall not act in any manner to disrupt the meeting. If anyone becomes disruptive during the meeting, they will be muted. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public are provided an opportunity to comment. Any continued disruption may result in the member being prevented from speaking during the remainder of the meeting. Disruptive conduct includes, but is not limited to, shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. I would now ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilman Siraki Hurley.
Present.
Councilman Seymour.
Present.
Councilman Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grodzki.
Here.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Present.
Council President Grant. Mayor Petrino.
Here.
Here.
Okay. Just so everyone knows, there will be a closed session at the end of this meeting. So after public comment, we will go into close and no action will be taken when we come out of close, and we will immediately adjourn the meeting. So under unfinished business, may I get a motion for approval of the minutes from the October 25th, 2021 closed and public session meetings?
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're going to move on to adopt ordinance 2021:21. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 7 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Traffic, thereby amending subsection 3-3.3 entitled Parking Prohibited at All Times on Certain Streets.
Okay, so this ordinance will prohibit parking restrictions. River Road on the east side from a point of 110 feet from the southerly curb line to Grand Street. Also on River Road East from a point of 50 feet from the northerly curb line of Grand Street. Once again on River Road East side from a point of 90 feet from the southerly curb line of Center Street. and the west side of River Road from a point 90 feet to the northerly curb line of Grand Street. Being that this is an adoption, we require a public hearing. I would ask for a motion to open to the public on this ordinance.
So
Motion.
moved.
Can I get a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, of the public, if anyone has any questions about ordinance 2021:21, now would be your opportunity.
No member of the public has indicated that they wish to speak.
I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Starkey Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
The motion carries. The ordinance carries. The adoption carries. Moving on to new business, we're going to introduce ordinance 2021:22. And when the clerk gets the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Salary, adopted as ordinance 9101 and amended annually by ordinance up to and including ordinance 2019-03.
This is our yearly update of all of our annual salaries for all positions. I'll just list a few of them. Records clerk has a minimum range of $25,000 to $60,000. Library personnel has a minimum of $25,000 to $73,000. Deputy Register Vital Statistics has a minimum of $500 and a maximum of $500. We have Fire Advisory Secretary, $300 minimum to $1,300 maximum. And we have, let's see, the municipal judge has a minimum salary of $15,000 and a maximum salary of $20,000. At this time, I would like a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading.
So moved.
May I get a second?
Second.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Starkey Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay. We will have a public hearing on this ordinance at our November 29th meeting. Moving on in new business, item number 1, electric vehicle supply equipment, usage fees, administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, at our last meeting, or maybe the meeting before, we talked about the introduction of this ordinance, and we were talking about the usage fees. We had referred it to, I believe, the Environmental Commission, and they came back with a recommendation. And a question came up at the introduction regarding how we would be quantifying the fees so that we would be able to make sure that the charging stations were self-sustaining. So that was something that we referred to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee met last week. It was one of the discussions that we had. And during the discussion, we talked about the way that we collect fees for online forms, which enables people to pay for them with credit cards. So in order to do that, we work with a third-party administrator, and there are fees associated with the third-party administrator. And in discussing it with Mr. Kelly, we talked about the fact that we are unlikely to have a charging station in place in the short term. And for that reason, we would like to recommend, until we have further information about the fees that would be associated with the third-party administrator, we hold off from adopting the ordinance with a fee, because the fee can be amended by resolution at any time. So we would suggest that we amend the ordinance prior to the adoption on the 29th, so that number 6 usage fees would show that it would be a fee of 0 per kilowatt for the purposes of introduction of the ordinance. I don't know, Mr. Kelly, would you like to add anything on that?
Yes, I don't believe, since we're going down from a charge per kilowatt hour of, I think it was 28 cents, we're going down to 0. I don't think you have to reintroduce, or because it's less of an impact. There's no impact, quite frankly, to the public by doing it this way. So I think you can go forward with it. My concern that I alerted Chris to is just making sure we have transparency in terms of the third-party administrator costs. We don't want to be in a situation where, you know, it's not necessarily part of our contract right now. So we have to look into that, look what they're going to add to it, and make sure it's not going to be something that's prohibitive. I doubt it will be, very seriously, but we just don't know. So we need to ask the question before we put it in. And given the fact that it can be amended by a resolution, at least temporarily, I would always recommend that any amendment we do ultimately be an amendment to the ordinance in accordance with the prevailing law. But this is what this particular statute allows. I think, quite frankly, because rates change, they can fluctuate. So the borough needs some flexibility with regard to that. But just off the bat, we're better off. We're not putting these up tomorrow or probably even the day after tomorrow. But we can at least have it nailed down, so there's full disclosure to the public. When someone slips a credit card in, they know what they're being charged, and there would be no question that.
Kevin, should we put some language in there that at some point the fee could be changed?
You can always change it. You don't have to put anything in there at this point. It's 0, but you can always amend a statute or an ordinance.
It says it right in the ordinance, Ira. It says this fee may be amended by resolution.
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
You know, and there's other things you may consider that Chris and I talked about down the road in terms of it, maybe limiting the parking, which you can do. That can certainly be done in our parking ordinance. You know, some of the things we talked about is if someone parks there for 12 hours, you know, depriving other people of the right to charge up, you know, that could be problematic. So those are things we have to kind of weigh out as it comes up. But for the time being, we want to get the ordinance in place in accordance with the statute. And I think that will probably help in terms of any grants we're applying for, or anything that's in the pipeline, to at least have it on the books, and then we can go from there.
Anyone have any questions on that?
So the ordinance is going in without any fee at all, with the possibility of us amending it so that there will be a fee when we determine what the third-party administrator would charge us.
Right.
Unless between now and the date of adoption, we can nail that down, but I just don't know that you're going to be able to do that. So at least this way you have the ordinance, we have the designation of it, we have the parking benefit of it. That's going to encourage developers to install it. And then we can go forward from there. And we're not, you know, this is not something that I'm suggesting is going to take a lot of time. We can get right to this as soon as we nail it down with the TPA.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 2, scheduled updates. Busy November. So we have the New Milford Public Events has their annual Veterans Day ceremony, which will be Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. in the front of the Borough Hall. The New Milford Municipal Alliance will be holding their annual ADAM event, which is the Alcohol and Drug Awareness Memorial, on Sunday, November 21st at 6 p.m. at Hardcastle Pond. There is a rain date scheduled for November 28th on that one. And the New Milford Public Events Committee will be also hosting their annual holiday tree lighting Winter Wonderland. That is Sunday, December 5th at 6 p.m. at the Borough Hall. So everyone knows that the holiday tree lighting and the Winter Wonderland is kind of a hybrid between our traditional tree lighting and last year's Winter Wonderland, which was spectacular. We're fusing them together, and that's going to be the annual event going forward. So we're looking forward to it. Was there any other events from any of your committees or commissions that I'm missing? Okay. Oh, I will
Michael,
mention, go ahead.
Excuse me, is there an interfaith service this year?
Right now, there is no interfaith service, unfortunately. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to item number 3 would be the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. The borough received $196,000 from the DOT for the graphic boulevard improvements. The proposed scope of work was from the boulevard to the Bergenfield border with an estimated cost of $369,000. So we are working with the engineer to revise the project scope to fall within the limits of the grant. The work at Knights Field, I don't know if anybody's been passing by, but it's finishing up. We had the sod installation that took place last week, and the gate was supposed to be installed, I believe, today, and the netting is scheduled, for the ball field is scheduled for next week. So we're almost 100% at this point. I mentioned earlier, the Finance Committee met last week, among other things discussed. We also talked about our expenditures, which are on track for the year, and also revenues that we've taken in, which are slightly below what was anticipated. There are a few areas where it's a little bit lower, specifically the court fees, recreation fees, and interest on our investment. We have a meeting scheduled this week with the engineer and the grants consultant to discuss the results of the traffic study that we did at the Boulevard and Graphic Boulevard intersection. We're going to be talking about possible grant opportunities for signalization of that intersection. Requests for qualifications for our 2022 professional appointments are due on Friday, November 19th. The RFQ is posted on the borough's website. Senior Transportation will begin offering ShopRite transportation on Thursdays beginning November 18th. And we'll also offer transportation the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. The borough will be closed this Thursday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day, and also Thursday and Friday, November 25th and 26th for the observance of Thanksgiving. And the last thing that I have is that our next meeting is going to be held 3 weeks from tonight, and it will be held virtually on 11/29. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the administrator? Okay. Has everyone had a chance to look at the resolutions? Are there any that need to be pulled out for further discussion?
Me.
Okay.
I had a question on number 246. Just, I guess, do some budget transfers. I don't know who wants to.
Comment at this time of year, we're not allowed to transfer money until the beginning of November. And so when we get to this point in time, if there are any accounts that are short, those are the ones that we look at and make some transfers to. I can speak specifically on the clerk's office OE. We had a significant amount of additional computer expenses because we had a cybersecurity incident earlier in the year. So that was the main precipitator for the need for the transfer there. Recreation, they had some staff salary surplus that they had actually spoken, I think, come to the mayor and council at an earlier point talking about the purchase of a movie screen. And so in order to accommodate that, they're transferring money out of their salary and wage line into their other expense line. Those are the two bigger ones. There was a
Okay.
grant, I think there was a grant for the Historic Commission that included a match, and the match had not been budgeted for, so that was one of the reasons why
Yeah.
we're transferring there.
I appreciate clarifying that because, sometimes you look at that and you would think, well, did we not budget correctly, or did we not give enough to one line and too much to another? So it's good to have the clarification. So thank you.
Sure.
No, you're absolutely right. I think, our entire budget, 1, 2, 3, there was 4 lines, 4 places where we actually had to switch money. A little bit here, a little bit there, out of
Yeah,
the hundreds of lines in our budget.
that's not bad, I would say.
Be more before the end of the year. It's just,
Yeah.
it's the nature of doing business.
Right.
Things are better than you expect in some areas and not as well as you expect in others. So
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, before we open to comments from the public, we'll go around the squares, and we're going to start with Councilwoman Randy Duffy. You're first on my squares.
Lovely. Thank you, Mayor. I think the mayor and I will be attending the fire department's annual dinner, and we'll be presenting certificates of accomplishment to some of the members for their service throughout the year, and especially during Ida. And just all of my assignments, everybody's working on their budgets for next year. And just a word, if anyone plans on doing anything special for the 100th anniversary, make sure you include that in your budget preparation as well. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. Pretty much what you reported is what all I have to say about our veterans service on Thursday at 11 and our holiday tree lighting / winter wonderland, working on that. Other than that, things have been relatively quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Grant.
I have nothing to actually report this evening, but I would like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, since we will not be meeting until after the holiday.
Thank you.
You.
And to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's quiet this week, so I don't have anything to report. I did stop my committees and commissions are busy working on their budget reports and planning for next year. And I did have a chance to stop by the paper shredding event. So it was looking really great. People were lining up and it was a great day. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's my report.
Councilman Seymour.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to reiterate what you said earlier, Mayor, this year's ADAM event, which stands for Alcohol and Drug Awareness Memorial, is tentatively on the 21st of this month. This is a very important event, and I really encourage as many people as possible to come out and attend. The purpose is just to remember those that we've lost to drug and alcohol addiction. And I'm really hopeful to see a great turnout. I'm sure we will see a great turnout for that event. Recreation soccer, the season is coming to an end. The final games will be next weekend, and it was a fantastic season. It was great to see all the families out, the kids out, and everybody having a great time. And major thanks to Rec for doing a fantastic job once again with another fantastic season. Last week we did have our 3rd annual Domestic Violence Awareness Symposium, which was live streamed via Facebook and also YouTube. So far, about a week and a half post-event, we're at approximately 1,500 views of the program, which, to be candid, is surprising to all of us. But it's a good sign that although it's terrible to see so many people with a need to call, the people are calling. I followed up with each of the agencies post-event. Everybody's gotten calls after this event. And again, I want to thank this mayor and council, the school district, the Board of Education, and the New Milford Police for their ongoing support. And just two questions that residents have asked me that I'd like to quickly answer here in the past week or so were as follows. The first question was, can the event be viewed? And if so, how, if somebody missed the event and wants to watch? And the answer is yes. The event is permanently online. It's free and accessible to everybody on YouTube. If somebody is looking for it, the easiest way to find it is to go to YouTube and do a search for New Milford Domestic Violence Symposium. And it should come up as the third annual symposium on the YouTube search. I've also been asked if someone needs help, if they can contact any of the individual agencies. Yes, of course. Each agency is more than happy and willing to help and can also redirect anybody in need to the other agencies as well. So thank you again for everybody's support with that program.
May I say something, Mayor? I want to say that I watched the entire thing except perhaps for the last 10 minutes. And I thought it was the best one yet. That you clearly every year is getting better. I hadn't actually planned to watch the whole thing, but I thought it was riveting. There was a lot of new information given. The speakers were excellent. The discussions that came out of some of the comments were excellent. And I learned a lot. And I think very well done. Kudos to you, Matt, and kudos to everyone who participated. It was a very well done event.
Thank you very, very much for that, Council President. I would just also, just to add, I would just want to give very special thank you to two people who don't get the credit or the thanks that really they deserve, and that's Dan Preet of the New Milford School District and also Mel Urena. People, not only this year, but last year, were fortunate to be able to view the symposium because of the hard work that went into the technical side to be able to live stream it. So special thanks to those two volunteers, as well as many other people who volunteered to help with the tech as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Grotzky.
Thank you, Mayor. Last month, the Shade Tree Commission designated 2 trees as heritage trees. And that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. One is that on Sunday, November 21st, that is when they're doing the reenactment of Washington's retreat route. So there'll be reenactment soldiers starting in Fort Lee around 6:30 in the morning, and they will end up at historic Newbridge Landing, the New Milford side, around 10 a.m. New Milford will have no parking on Old Newbridge Road in front of Sanzari's because there's going to be a lot of foot traffic. So that's something cool. If you have the time, go down and check it out. Also on the 21st, the Serving Life Church, which is the church that purchased the former Glory Day Church, they are having a grand opening at 5 p.m. So if anybody wants to stop by, meet them or say hi, that's a perfect opportunity. And as Council President Grant mentioned, it is No Shave November for the month of November. If anybody wants to participate or donate to the PBA, all they have to do is go down to the police station or contact anyone from the NMPD, and they will assist you in that. So far in November, we've had 15 reported positive cases of COVID, and our current number is 2,223, and we have a total of 66 fatalities since it started. And that is all that I have at this time. Is there anything else before I ask for a motion to open to the public? If not, I would ask for a motion to open for public comment.
So moved.
Motion.
Second? May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, we are open for comment. All we ask is that you give us your name and your address, and we will give you 5 minutes to talk about anything New Milford related.
Mayor, there's no member of the public that has indicated that they wish to speak.
Okay. Welcome, member of the public.
No, I said no, there's no member.
Oh, there's none. I got excited. I thought we had one. Okay. If there is no one, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion to close.
Can I
Second,
get a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to approve resolutions 2021:242 through 2021:248?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any other business before this council before we go into closed session? If not, I would ask for a motion to go into closed.
So moved.
Motion to go into closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We are going into closed session. As I had mentioned earlier, when we come out of close, we will take no action on any item and we will immediately adjourn the meeting. So thank you for joining us and have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Happy and safe Thanksgiving with you and your family. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Giving.